Alright, everybody, we have returned for the 5 D&D stream of D&D-ery. We last sat down to have some tea with an elven dude in the middle of a fucking magic-y tower and shit, and we're gonna go ahead and consume conversation with him. Yes, consume conversation with him.
I don't want to eat his words. That's weird.
Oh, dude, eating words is where it's at. What are you talking about? God.
Gotta eat cereal.
So, he gave us all some tea. He seemed to be very, okay with Frath being douchey about his own tea.
I don't trust him.
I mean, I get that, but I'm just saying, like...
So after he's poured out the tea, he's drunk it for a little bit, he asks, "So, where did you find this heart?"
Does Frath actually...
wait, he's talking about the little one?
Yeah.
Well, after we got into a bit of an altercation, I found my blade to be stuck in the ground, and it was not freed easily. In fact, my large friend here had to put nearly all of her muscle behind it just to free it from the dirt. When it came out, there was a root system growing around it, and at the center of the root system was this.
By altercation, he means we got our asses kicked by a bloody tree.
This is exactly what I was trying to not say out loud, but thanks for that, jackass.
So as you guys start talking, he actually he holds up his hand off to the right, and a book comes floating down the hallway and enters the room and slowly makes its way to his hand, and he grabs it out of the air and opens up, and he's just thumbing through it, looking through the pages for something, listening, and every once in a while he kind of gestures for you to keep talking.
I would like to hold my hand up and see what flies into it.
You hold it up in the air, and after a little bit, the teapot lifts up into the air and goes and puts itself up against your hand with the handle right there.
This is mine now.
Your pet teapot?
Do you actually say that?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a second.
God damn it, Eduardo.
He is literally like our rogue. He's not even a rogue, but he's like our rogue. They're just to fuck the party. We need a bard to counteract his stupidity. Bards always save the party.
After you say that, Andalon is still thumbing through things, and he says in Elvish specifically, and you can tell he's directing it at you, Eladriel. Does it remind you of Essalem? If it does, it is yours.
Is it still floating?
No, you're holding it now.
Is that the name of your native...
Well, no, it was in Elvish.
It's an Elvish.
Oh, in Elvish, sorry.
And you can tell that that he actually is directing that at...
Right.
I would like to... I'll respond also in Elvish, and I'd say...
So, I know kind of what's going on. I was rolling an inside, just nat 20 that shit. Kind of excited about it.
Okay, well, Eladriel, what are you saying first?
I would like to say, if it does, I would like some words in private, and I put it on the table.
My character's gonna, arch an eyebrow or eye scales at him and
the bumpy part above her eye.
Yeah. It's not really hair, but you know what I meant.
It's that little ridge there.
But she's not gonna say anything about it.
Okay. So Zenyasa, with your insight, you think that Andalon was actually like just being somewhat conciliatory,
right?
And
somewhat say that again.
Conciliate. So he was being empathetic towards Eladriel, like he was saying he is sorry that something has hurt him.
Right.
And Eladriel was quite.
I'm assuming
he was
like
taken
surprised.
aback about it.
Right.
He wasn't too sure how to respond.
Yeah.
And that's what you got out of that.
That's all I need for some fun character conversation later. Continuing along.
Okay. So Andelon, back in Elvish again, says, we can definitely take the time if you have the time. And then he says, I did not catch your name. And this is still in Eladriel and still in Elvish.
Right.
My name is Eladriel, and where I hail from you already know. I don't think I'd like to reveal more until I know what you know, as cryptic as that sounds.
And he kind of, his eyes, he takes the book and kind of closes it, but keeps it somewhat open with his thumb, so he knows where he was. And he looks at you, and he gets a pained expression, and he says, so is the reaction of every child of this lives. And he looks at you for a quiet moment, and then goes back, and he just kind of shakes his head, and then goes back to reading.
I'm gonna roll insight as well, really quick.
Okay, go for it.
Yes, 17 plus fucking whatever it is, wisdom mod, so 4.
Yeah, so you think that Andelon is generally very sad.
For something he's talking about with
Eladriel.
Okay.
I mean, it's in a... You don't understand the conversation, but you can tell that Eladriel isn't too comfortable with it, but that Andelon is just purely... He's almost grief-stricken over the reaction he's seen in the conversation. So,
I'm gonna kind of look around at my team, and then I'm gonna ask the guy. In Primordial, actually, I'm going to ask the guy. What did we decide we were calling my original group? I never came up with a name for him, and you had something.
He had referred to you as Child of the Forest.
Child of the Forest.
You know, I'm kind of wondering now, what can you tell me about the forest people?
I guess that's what we would call ourselves as
Yeah.
people. It's a terrible name, and we should sit down and talk about it. But we'll deal with that at the next moon meeting.
Yeah. So he kind of looks at you a little funny, and then takes his hands, and you notice that he is moving his hands in a weird manner, and he kind of quirks his head to the side like he's listening for something again, and then he replies, their touch was obvious on you. I can actually feel it emanating from you. The trees, they're happy that you are here. Every child of the forest that I have met has made the wilderness around them a better place. In fact, I had a few with me not too long ago, and we sat amongst the trees for days.
I'm going to nod at Steven's character and go,
And, her people, what do you know about them?
He's speaking primordial still, yes?
yes.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
The child of the silver dragon?
Yeah.
She is spawn of Bahamut.
I obviously recognize that word.
Even in Primordial? Well, I guess it's a
No,
name.
that's a
It's
name.
a name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
you
is
would
it that you are asking him, Prath?
It just seems curious that our friend knows more about our backgrounds than we know about each other. We've met, what, a week ago? Little more? I could barely even name most of you people.
He says, Andelon says, Well, you do not see the magic that is seeping off of you all. There is something powerful tying you all together.
I look at myself and smell this kind of...
And he...
At that, Zanyas is going to actually interrupt and say, what is it that allows you to know of us? That you seem to be so much more in the know about us, and I do not understand why. Have you been following us for our lives, or what is going on?
He looks at you kind of sideways, like he's not too sure what to do, and he says, "You do not know," and he makes a gesture with his fingers, like he's picking something up. And all of you guys roll a perception check for me, please.
15.
22.
12.
All right. Eladrio, perception?
Probably 0, because fuck, I zoned out.
Everybody's having this conversation. He's just over here like, fuck, did I get a rock in my boot the other day?
22.
Okay. So as he kind of lifts his fingers up, you guys all feel a little bit of a tugging. Frath, from your backpack, you feel something trying to lift itself up.
So what you're saying is the cards are floating out of our packs.
They're kind of moving around, yes. And you can, after a little bit, you guys can look inside your packs, and you do definitely see that the cards are moving themselves out of your packs and slowly floating.
So you are connected to what the wise woman gave us then, and she's going to take the card out and put it on the table. How are you connected to it?
I am not connected. I simply am reading what is written on them. You are the one connected to it.
But I do not understand how you know what is going on if you have not been connected to it in some way.
Hey, did you guys all have a really rude lady interrupt you while you are eating too and give you a fucking card?
She called me to her estates and gave me a bit of a reading and then handed me this card. Apparently it is important, and that's why I have kept it. But I am not sure exactly what it means. However, this man, he seems to know, and I wish to know what he knows.
I hold up the card and I'm just like, this was promises of riches.
And Lynn looks at it kind of sideways and looks at you, and he's like, kind of has like a little bit of a little resigned.
He's
face to
disappointed
it.
in you, damn it.
Yeah, he's a little disappointed. He's like, that is the primary reason that you would hold on to that. Yes. And you are right. It is great.
In any case, whether there is riches or not, I do not understand how you know what you know.
I have spent many years reading into magic. And he gestures off to the side, and he lists off a few different books, and as he's talking, they slowly start coming in. And he says there have been a few prophecies, and there have been several old decks that were handed out. Many have gone lost, but each time a card is found and the true owner holds it, you can easily read into them.
Then how can you help us in what we are doing? You seem to know more than we do.
I do
not understand.
I'd like to interrupt and in Elvish ask, do you know where she is? Do you know Darinas?
Why must you speak in a tongue that we do not all understand? Is there a reason why you are obscuring what you are saying?
I'm ignoring that and just looking at...
what did you say again? What was the name?
Darinas?
He shakes his head and says, She was lost. She was lost at the same time that Asilium was.
I just kind of withdraw from the conversation.
This is not a time to withdraw information. We are clearly connected in some way. If there is some kind of prophecy around us, we should be more forthcoming of what is going on.
The cards. He actually pulls a book out and opens it up and thumbs through a few pages and gets to the right spot and pushes it across the table to you. And he says, "It's written all in there. As soon as the owner holds it, anyone that can read magic can actually see into their true self. And if they know enough, they can actually see what the card will do."
My character is going to look over to Frath and Yazata and simply say that I know that you guys are connected with the magic. How is it that you have not noticed this? If what he speaks is true.
Where were you on this one, guys?
Mine's more of a, nature kind of thing. It's not a plant, man.
Fair enough. I am just I feel like it is surprising that neither of you could detect something about these things.
To be fair, your grasp on magic is not what I would call good.
You are not mistaken, but that does not change the fact that I am curious.
So Yasuta, as he's talking, you look at the book, and you're just skimming over it, and you think this is so far above and beyond what you can currently do that you're just blown out of the water.
I'm sure he gets blown.
To use a really great author's definition, you think you are using a lever, and this book is describing a combustion engine.
What about a rudimentary lathe?
It's slightly above my pay grade.
Wait, you got paid
And
already?
to be fair, like as a cleric, I'm moderately smart, but like my Arcana knowledge is not.
Right. As a player, I totally get it.
Simpler.
As a
Like-
character,
Like
she
your
is
character,
confused.
your character is an idiot, and I'm probably gonna get like my character is pretty snappy.
That's fine. I mean, I again,
Just like
playing the role.
maybe it's time for dragon schools to start having magic as a required class. Just saying.
Not everyone is in tune with the arcane arts.
Yeah, but you can get a kit off Amazon for like $5 and get ready down. It's not that hard.
I do not know what you mean with the people of the Amazonian forests.
Yeah. Well, how do you don't even know the Amazon.
The Amazon?
Well,
You never
I
been to the Amazon.
mean,
So,
We are on fire right now. You
You're
hear
not
that siren,
you're not even
guys?
familiar with the real place. You don't even know. To you, it's just gibberish, and I'll just say, oh, it's a cart delivery system. Very quick.
it's a hot delivery.
You order something there, and it arrives here.
They're actually working on getting carpets to fly overhead and drop in your backyard.
There's a little, little magic. You order, it arrives, you pay the money. Bam.
It's the arcane Amazon.
Yeah, so this is way over my head. I mean, I can go. I kind of want to study it for a bit, but I don't really like this. This guy seems sort of weird to me. Seems a little sketchy.
Okay.
My character is going to sort of look at your comment and say, very well, perhaps it is you that you should be talking to her then, or to him then. For whatever reason, I assume this is a woman and it's not.
That's the guy.
And at that point, my character is just going to enjoy tea and wait.
No, I think we should kidnap the elf.
Hit him over the back of the neck, put a bag over his head.
Sounds like a great plan to me.
Anyway, well, I'll
spit on
study
him.
it for as long as I sort of can remain there
Okay.
easily.
So we'll get back to what you find later in that regard. So after a little bit of you just looking at the book and him talking about the cards and how that each one of you is individually radiating a bit of magical power, that you're not too sure what's causing it. Josh, after reading for a little while, you kind of look your head sideways at Magnus, and Magnus just kind of like crooks his head back and forth looking at you, and you get kind of a little bit of an inkling that he might be connected to it. Where are we at here? Okay, so he's talked about the cards for a little bit, and then he goes back to he goes back to the heart, and he says, "Were there any other things that you guys found with this? The last recorded incidents of this were from many thousands of years ago, when the book came out, and
at that point, I very unceremoniously dropped the root club on the table.
The club. Okay, so you picked up the root. Okay.
Yeah.
It kind of lands and shakes things around a little bit. Give me a perception check.
Everybody or just me?
Just you.
22.
Okay, so when you drop it on the table, you hear kind of a little bit of a really, really faint wailing sound coming from the nearby little miniature city. Like, it sounds like there's a lot of different high-pitched screams, but it's really, really quiet. And after you drop it down, Andalon kind of stretches his hand out for it, and it lifts itself off the table just a little bit and slides over to him.
I'd like to blow on the town a little, to see what would happen.
And as you do that, Andalon notices you doing that and says, "Oh, please, no. Please do not touch the cities. We must leave them be." But as you were blowing on it, you noticed that several of the trees kind of were swaying notably, and one or two of them fell down. And you heard another few little bit of wailing coming out of that as well.
I'd like to. I'll just smirk a little bit and keep my hands at my side for the moment.
Okay. And the few of you around, once he mentions the cities, you guys do notice that it looks like there's really small things moving around in the cities, and it looks like they might be a little bit more than just models. So
I'm going to start looking at them more while kind of like moving away from the conversation.
Okay. So as you're looking at them, it looks like you see little people moving around inside of the cities.
I'm going to try and pick one of these people up.
And as you get closer to this city, he kind of says, "Oh, please, no." And he says, "Oh, wait, let me just protect them." And he waves a gesture over them, and there's a little bit of a barrier between them now. And as you try to get close to it, your hand is hitting against a wall.
She's going to continue to observe.
Okay. You see what looks like notably you see what looks like a marketplace, and you see several people like just interacting inside of one of the cities. And it looks like you're really, really high up in the air looking down at something happening.
Right. Continue with the conversation.
Okay. So he looks at the branch, and he's fiddling with it a little bit. And like previously, you see several different colored sparks popping out of it. And then after a little bit, he says, "Ah, yes, it is here. and he pulls. Coming out of the tree is a black, murky, what looks like a tarish oil that's just being pulled up into a ball in the air. And he says, "This is most definitely the book. It leaves its touch and its taint on everything. All the life it gives is but a stain and an insatiable hunger for more." And he says, "Do you know where this was going? My Biblio 9 has not quite identified where it went from when I was sent here."
Could I? So, the table, is it showing the area we're in as well?
No. The different little cities are mainly, you can identify at least one that you recognize of Esterlin, and one of the other ones you think might be Mercenary, where you were not too long ago. It looks like they might just be the major cities of the kingdom.
Oh, I'll ask Mike, do you have one of these for the road we're on? If so, we could find the cart that's supposed to have it very easily.
Oh no, I do not have the magic to do that.
Oh, did you use it on this big fuck-off castle?
No, I was just teleported here. He kind of looks like a little sheepish about that. Like he doesn't really have, like he was kind of chagrined that he had to be teleported here. He's not too happy to say that. I'm sorry. As he starts talking, as you guys are talking though, the book above you starts actually pushing against the wall to the southeast of where you guys are at.
What are you, like an answering machine? Like, to the southeast?
No, I was trying to remember where we were.
It's your GPS.
Exactly on the map.
Your GPS voice. Turn left now.
Yeah, so
Words.
he after a little bit he says, "Yes, my father did teleport me here, and the cities were made by my grandfather. I am still in training. I know I am not actually able to handle the book myself. I must go get my father and my grandfather as well. He may be able to help." And as soon as he says that, he looks up and he does notice that the book is definitely pointing in a specific direction now. He says, "Ooh, the Biblio 9 has finally found it. I must go to my father. Would you take it with you, and I would be able to come back and assist later? Because this book must not stay out." And he's looking at you, Yazatar, when he says that.
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay. Anybody else?
And sell it.
He said he'd be able to identify. He'd be able to follow it, so he will know where you're at with it. And he kind of looks actually quite relieved that the Biblio 9 has found its way, and is actually kind of like packing things up somewhat hurriedly now.
To the parties, and else is going to say that, do you think it is time that we make haste to our original destination?
I'd like to grab the teapot and just be like, yes, I think we should get far away from here.
Does anybody wish to stay?
I mean, still pretty personally invested in this forest in general, so if the path leads us too far out, I'm afraid I'll have to turn back, but I will follow you as far as the forest.
I still think that a lot of the disturbances in this area are caused by the same things.
We don't know that with the appearance of this gentleman in this particular area.
True, but I don't know if he is causing any of it. In fact, I am fairly certain, at least from what I have seen, that it is not him.
Whether he's causing it or looking for it around here, I think this is the area where I need to be.
Fair enough. Then we shall continue as long as we can with your presence. And at that, my character's going to start leaving.
Okay. Okay. So. Sorry. So as he is packing up, he kind of notices you guys getting ready to go, and he calls out in Elvish to Eladriel, saying, "Did you want to talk about the teapot?"
I'd really like to have a conversation about Asylum and what you know.
Okay. He says yes. We can do that. And he actually hasn't. He's still speaking in common. He asks if you are wanting to have this in private or not.
I'll respond in Elvish. My companions know not of this. Know not of anything, and I'd like to keep it that way. I'm surprised even you know of what happened there.
Fair enough. It has been a hard subject for all involved. Would you let your friends know? And we can take a moment to talk.
I'll look back at them and tell them in common. Would you give us a moment? We have a few things to discuss before I continue the journey.
Wait, you say that you're saying that to the group or to yourself?
To the group.
Yeah, do what you like.
Okay. So you guys head on out, and Eladriel sticks behind. Do you guys want to head all the way down, or do you guys just want to stay like at the top of the stairs? What's your plan?
Well, I mean, I mean, if he's gonna take a few minutes, I mean, I'm gonna leave the tower and sort of like investigate the path that continues forward. I mean, there's nothing else I can really do here.
Okay.
I'll just wait outside of the tower.
I'm gonna wait with Wrath. I'll be checking out the book while I wait there.
Alright. So you guys head on out, and after you all have, after the rest of the party has left, he says, so, Eladriel, how long were you in Asylum? Were you there near the end?
I was definitely there at the end. I'm just very curious how you knew I was even associated with this city. I've spoken to no one about that.
That, I have to say, was on the card. But I have embellished a bit. I know that the war between the humans and the elves went quite bad. And Asylum was the end of it. I did not fight in it myself, and we were greatly saddened to hear of all the things that were summoned in, and how the leaders of the city turned at the end. We did not expect them to go as far into the evil realms as they did. The demons that our brethren summoned to fight off the humans ended up destroying the city on top of them. Were you there during that time?
I was there at the end. We all got separated as we fled the dying city.
Then, were you part of one of the guilds? There were the magicians and there were the defenders. Those groups made it out okay. The rangers and the craftsmen, there was not much to say. Many of them were caught.
Have you run into others of my kind? Or of my birth?
I've run into several magicians that were there during the fall and during the invasion. There were not many that wish to speak of it. There were many that do not wish to admit what they did. I can look into it more and maybe connect you with a few of them. He pulls out from a sack at his waist, and he grabs a small card, and it looks like it's just a blank sheet of paper, and he hands it to you, and he says, with this you would be able to find me again. It may be a journey. I will look to see if I can find him. And I know you spoke of Deranos. The few that I talked to remember her, but they have not heard of her. They've not heard of her well-being since the fall. I will look for you.
So, you know of my plan. Have you divined that with your magic?
I can see it. I wish you the best in it. I think it will be harder than you think. But I will do my part. And he gestures again, and a small bag of, looks like a small coin purse, floats towards you.
Right. I won't count it in front of him, but I'll just thank you very much. If I could impose just one last time, and I'll take out the dagger and present it to him and just say, what can you tell me about this?
Oh, that is a curious little thing. He looks at it for a little bit. Takes the piece of wood off of the table that he left there, and carves it just really quickly, really roughly, and then throws it against the wall, and it actually goes into the wall, like it actually makes an indentation in it. He's like, yes, that's what I thought. He said he hands it back to you. And he says, you know, they never really named that type of an enchantment. But we always gave it to our woodsmen. It makes anything you carve with it a better weapon for a short-term period. Generally an hour or two, and then the magic is lost. But if you need an arrow in a pinch, or you need a club, it will imbue some power into it and make the arrow fly true, and the club will hit hard. And he asked, where did you find this?
I found it amongst the remains of those who would bring home to my body and I.
Well, I pray that it brings you better days.
So this one, like, I've obviously been a lot more solemn than I usually am with this conversation. I'll probably just show him a bit more respect than I would others, and just I apologize for my behavior. But, I'm sorry for my earlier behavior. The subject is still quite sensitive, and I'd like it if you kept this to yourself.
I understand. Yes, I can do that for you. And you think he's generally he would do that.
Right. And then I guess unless he has anything else, I'll have a small bow and start making my way to the rest of them, to the rest of the party.
And as you go out, you hear him call out a blessing to you and your party as you go, and you feel a little bit of something kind of picking you up and making you feel happy. And you have inspiration now. And yes, you are inspired. Alright, so after a little bit, Eladriel comes out of the castle and heads on down the stairs. The rest of the group, you guys were all down at the bottom, is that correct?
Well, I'm by the path, investigating sort of a little bit if I can find, like, if maybe the numbers thinned out here, or if they only grew. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of like looking around the area because, you know.
Okay. So you go down to the path, and it looks like the numbers of like tracks that you're following has actually been pretty consistent since you left the clearing. Like, you really haven't noticed anything that looks like it's been coming to life for the last little bit. You definitely haven't seen anything. You haven't seen any dead bodies, and it looks like the path has been pretty steady.
Okay.
And as soon as Eladriel gets off of the stairs and walks back to the path, you all notice that the stairs kind of fold themselves back upwards, spiraling up to the top, and as soon as they hit the top, the whole castle disappears into the sky. And then the trees slowly bend themselves back up straight and kind of wobble back and forth for a little bit. And then it's as if nothing was there.
Zenios is going to come up to Frath at that and basically say, what do you make of the way the trees seem to be normal now that it is left? Let alone the fact that this castle has disappeared like that.
Really, the only thing that I know for sure at this point is that guy is on a completely different levels than the rest of us.
It seemed as so, yes. I don't know if it is a good sign that he is invested in our journey, but it seems as if maybe what we are doing is bigger than we thought before.
Good sign or bad sign? A sign is a sign. We need to continue.
I definitely agree with that, and I think that it is best that we make haste to see what we can learn of this caravan. Hopefully we can get them before they leave this forest. That way we can continue to have your assistance. It would be a shame to lose what you offer.
Agreed.
As you guys are talking, Yasata, you're holding on to the rope that the book is kind of being tethered to, and you feel it kind of tugging you, actually directly in line with the path.
All right, cool. I'm gonna say this book sort of has a mind of its own, and it seems to want us to go this way. So, shall we wander?
It should be explicitly noted, by the way, I did pick up my card before leaving.
Assumed
the
you guys all have them. So.
Okay, just wanted to double check that. And yeah, then at that point, I'm gonna go take point and follow this path and continue to find this fucking caravan of douchebags.
All right. And with that, we have actually reached the end of what I have planned for today.
Yeah, no, it seems like a pretty good spot. We're pretty close to that 9 o'clock frame, which is where we usually continue or conclude the stream. So that sounds like a good time to end it.
We do have something, though.
Yeah?
I was adding everything up, and we guys have hit the point where we can level up yet again.
Oh shit, level 3, motherfuckers!
So,
most of us are going to be like, we got nothing!
I leveled up to level 5.
What?
Why
How
would-
did you
why
gain
would
2
you do
levels?
that?
I do not understand.
so
You don't get the ways of magic.
Damn it, you're right! I do
Clearly
not
your
understand the way that the magic works, but it seems that you are more powerful than we are.
My deity has been sending me protein shakes.
Oh, dude, that's why you're all bulked up, man. You're like, do you lift, bro? And I'm like, I do, but it seems that
ripped.
whatever you are doing is more effective than what I do. Look at those muscles, you know?
I just love the pump.
and
Always.
Magnus kind of like
You're like,
through the
lift that shit! Anyways, guys, thank you so much for... What?
Going Super Saiyan.
He's going Super Saiyan?
Wait, you haven't leveled up for 3 episodes yet.
What was that?
No,
He
yeah,
hasn't
he's
powered
right,
up
he's
for 3
right.
episodes. He
He
can't
needs to
go
be like,
Super Saiyan yet. We have to have 3 episodes of...
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, like literally, there needs to be 3 entire weeks of him just going, ah, and then they go going, oh, and him going, ah, and like then finally
go back home
they
with something stupid
explode.
like, we let the cat out again.
And then there's gonna be a tower that comes from the sky, slams down, purple and all, and a tower. Oh wait, hold on.
And then the ultimate evil will be dead, but then next week, the other ultimate evil from
ultimate
other side of
evil?
the galaxy.
And strike the guillotine pose.
We're fighting
Exactly.
gods.
We're all gonna be like,
Now we're fighting the gods of the gods. Oh!
yeah, dude, we're gonna fight the gods.
Yes.
And then after that, the gods, and it's gonna be great. And then we're gonna go to the tower in the middle of the universe.
And, fight
And then
the
we're gonna
gods,
climb
gods,
up that
gods,
tower
uncles.
and fight
then
the
it
gods.
turns out we were all dreaming.
And then they're gonna fight math.
And then we're gonna wake up
Oh,
and be
no,
like,
nobody
what the
wants
fuck
to
was
talk.
that? Either way, everybody, thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you for the follows and all the fun
Classic
stuff that
Kaiser
comes with that.
Soze.
What? I appreciate you guys are nerds. Give me your lunch money comment. We are nerds, and I'm fucking proud of it. Nerd power! Hearts.
At least
Um,
he has lunch money, Muat.
I don't have lunch money. I'm a poor ass motherfucker.
Oh, that was a low blow. Good for you.
Either way, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for the follows, all the fun stuff. The entire stream that we have done so far, at least for the D&D, is up on the YouTubes. It's my personal YouTubes. You can get that by !YT. I also put some other stuff in there, primarily the retro playthrough, which will be going on, continuing tomorrow. For the rest of the week, we do have Icewind Dale on Sunday with some voice acting. That's Bonsai and I. We're going to have a good time. And then we're going to have some more StarCraft Monday. I don't know, what are you playing next, Devin, for Tuesdays? I know that you finished the Tales of the Borderlands.
It's gonna be Game of Thrones, but it won't be next week.
Oh, won't be next week? Are you going to be out for next week then?
Yeah, I told you that already.
Okay, then that being the case, there'll be some StarCraft on Tuesday as well. We're going to try and beat Wings of Liberty. Yeah! And then the following week, we'll probably have the Game of Thrones Telltale game, which is pretty fun. We have some RP'd Ark Survival Evolved on Wednesdays. Thursdays will continue with this, as well as whatever I feel like in the beginning part. And then, of course, Fridays are always retro nights. This week, we're going to have Final Fantasy V. And then after that, I'm not really sure, because we have a poll going on. I did post that in the chat earlier, so feel free to vote. But with all that being said, guys, thank you for stopping in, and we look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, peace out, brothers.
Bye.
Hope you all had fun.
I do
See ya.
declare.
You don't care. Oh.
See y'all later.